What's up? French in the
Hi.
building. Hello, world.
I haven't seen you
It's been a
since
minute.
2017.
I know. Well, first of all, what is time these days? All right. The last.
I saw you,
Yeah.
and then there was a pandemic, and
Hate what.
that's the last thing that's happened.
You know what? You know how many ex-girlfriends told me that probably in my life? They're like, Gunz, you ruined my life. Great. So, no, but listen, yeah, I think the last time we saw each other was probably when you were on tour, and that was awesome. But are you like me? Kind of, you brought that up. I don't really know what time is. I feel like the last year felt like 5 years. I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, the only reason I know what day it is because I have to take my children to school. So, but the other day I literally was like walking around all day thinking it was Thursday and it was or Wednesday and it was Thursday and I had like missed a whole day somehow. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's all a blur.
Well, listen, life is, it's all happening once again. First up, congratulations. We have so much to talk about. The chat room is blowing up right now. So it's, they're very excited to see you. But first up, how are you? Like, how are things going? I know you got a lot on your plate these days, a lot of great things happening. You got a live stream later tonight. Everybody can check it out. Shout out Moment House, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. on the West Coast. So you can go check out that. You're going to be performing. But how are you in general? What's good?
I'm good. I'm pregnant, which is exciting. So if you guys watch the live stream tonight and you're like, wow, she must have been eating a lot during quarantine. No, it's a baby.
We got a baby on
So
board.
that's
Yeah.
so that's exciting. And just chasing around my other kid who is just turned 3. My daughter just turned 16, which is crazy because I was her age when I made the spirit room. And so it's been a really big trip I feel young at heart, but then I think of things like that and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not as young as I think I am.
Well, it's funny because it's, first of all, when I first started seeing like the anniversary for Spirit Room start popping up, I'm like, wait, this album's how old? Like, it's like, wait, I'm not saying we're old, but like, what the hell happened?
I know. We were just hanging out and now it's been 20 years. So it's very strange.
Unbelievable. But you know what? I think what's so cool about this, and also just the reaction and the feedback, as we speak here with Michelle Branch, is that it still holds up. This album really still holds up. It's so funny.
Thank you.
It's so funny because, like All You Wanted, I can throw it on at a bar on like the touch tunes and people will go wild for it,
Really?
Oh, they love it. Yeah, big fans, big fans. So
I don't know if I've ever been in a bar where my music has come on. It's usually like a Dwayne Reed or something when I get to hear it. But I'm glad that people are liking it, that it's come back.
well, it absolutely definitely is. And yes, it's still a dance party whenever the music comes on. And, you're looking back at 20 years of this album. And of course, you just dropped the Sweet Misery, came out today, the re-recorded version of that, which is awesome. You did You Get Me a couple weeks ago. Shout out to whoever just followed or dropped us a subscription. That was that sound. Thank you for that. Looking back at it, are you like, what were you thinking? Well, not thinking, but what were you feeling when you're doing this tonight? Like you're gonna play these songs again or listen to the album again?
Well, the crazy thing is, in 20 years, I've never ever played the album in its entirety from start to finish, which is just weird. And because it's been so long since I've played some of like the deep cuts of the album, like it's been really interesting to like rehearse it and go back to it's been bringing up a lot of old memories of writing it, of making the record. And I'm just like, there's a lot of songs like Here With Me or Something to Sleep To. I play on piano tonight. Where, I've never played them really live before. So it's going to be fun. I hope people like it. It's something that now that I've been playing the songs, I really want to get a band together and go on the road, because this was just me acoustic here in our home studio tonight. So, who knows? Maybe we'll take the show on the road.
I mean, that would be awesome. We definitely need Michelle Branch on the road again. Let me ask you this, when was the last time you listened to the full, like, to those deep cuts? And did you have to kind of like, was it like a sit down and you're just like hit play and you just listened to them all like recently or something like that?
Yeah. So when I decided to make this record, I was really inspired first off by Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill. And for her 10th anniversary, she did an awesome acoustic version, like different version of Jagged Little Pill, which as a fan, I just love so much. And so that's kind of what planted the idea for me to do this. And when it came time to sit down in the studio and record, I hadn't heard some of these songs since 2003 or 4. Obviously I play Everywhere and All You Want and Goodbye to You really often still. But it was a project that I thought was going to be done in a matter of weeks. We started it in January of this year. The original album, we also started like end of January, and it took like 3.5 weeks to make. And this album took like 6 months to make, because I literally like trying to recreate the songs without like copying everything was really hard, because I wanted them to sound like how I remember it. And my husband, Patrick, who co-produced the record with me, he was like, you can't ever recreate the original. Like, don't even try. Like, you have to try to make this new. And it was a lot more difficult than I anticipated.
You're like 6 months later, you're like, we're still working on this.
No, I was like, we have to finish this. I'm going crazy. I think the weirdest thing was the hardest song to do was Everywhere. I was just like, doesn't sound right. Nope, it's not right. Like, and it's still like, I did an alternate version of Everywhere. So there's like a record version and an alternate version, just because I literally couldn't make up my mind what to do with it. Yeah.
We're speaking of Michelle Branch. Of course, the chat is going wild. By the way, we have viewers right now from, I asked them where they were from before you came on. We got London, we got Italy, we got Australia, New Mexico. We got people all over. New York City represent. Let's go. As we talk here with Michelle Branch, make sure to drop a follow. Branch, this is funny because we known each other for years now, and which is
for
wild.
20 years.
For 20 years.
20 years now.
Literally 20 years. And you always, I was thinking about this before, you always knew that you were the artist and stuff, and I was so into music because I played music, but I never really had a band or anything, so I was always like, I'm going to do the broadcasting side, and I always wanted to be the TRL VJ. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm going to be on TRL, and unfortunately TRL's sort of around, but it's not TRL the same.
It's not what it was.
It's definitely not the same. So I partnered up with Twitch, which is now doing like the visual thing, and they're putting a lot of music aspect to it. So when I had a meeting with Twitch, I was like, they kind of brought it to me first. They're like, you could be like the Carson Daly Twitch. I was like, let's fucking go. Let's go.
Full circle.
Full circle.
I love it.
So we're doing this, and it's happening. It's all happening. So
I love it. I mean, I have fond memories of running around New York City before we were even like drinking age. So
yeah, definitely.
That was great.
Yeah, definitely good times. And of course, the Gunz Show still a podcast. So if you're watching now, make sure to follow and all of that. Got a couple more questions on Spirit Room. Then the fans have some questions. Of course, tonight, make sure to watch it. Moment House. It's going to be awesome. And then it's available even afterwards. So you can rewatch it. You can jam out, crack some beers, whatever you want to do tonight, and watch Michelle Branch. It's going to be a very special occasion later tonight, happening 9 p.m. Eastern. Check out Moment House. Of course, Michelle Branch. So to be complete, full disclosure, I don't listen to Spirit Room nearly as much as I used to 20 years ago.
Why, I wonder?
So, but I started delving back into it a little bit here and there. And I want to ask you your question first before I give my answer. Looking back, relearning the songs, is there a song or like maybe... Two parts. Is there a song that you're like, wow, this is actually really good? Or like, did you appreciate a song now that you might not have back then?
Yes. I mentioned Here With Me earlier. Here With Me has been a favorite to record that I really like, where I think I never really played it live when I was touring that record. I think, I don't know. It was just, I didn't really understand it, or it didn't feel like mine. It was a co-written song with John Shanks, and it felt kind of out of my element or something. And now I just really had a blast re-recording it.
And was there because you wrote these lyrics 20 plus years ago. Was there a lyric that you were like cringed when you had to? You're like, what? Like,
yes. There's a song, "You Set Me Free," which, you know, was in many movie trailers and movies and whatnot. But it's so like rhymey that it drives me nuts. Like, I really wish I could somehow like just go rewrite the verses. But I didn't touch it. I left it as it is.
Awesome. Very cool. And of course, these songs are all re-recorded because we're re-releasing the album 20th anniversary and kind of like Branch 2.0 we're doing. Spirit Room 2.0, right?
Yeah. So I re-recorded the whole album, and I'm releasing it on vinyl as well as digital. It'll be out in October digitally. And the vinyl will be out in spring of next year. I believe March. They haven't given me a deadline because vinyl is so completely backed up. But the vinyl is really cool. The Spirit Room has never been released on vinyl. So one album, it'll be a double LP. One album will be the original Spirit Room, and the other album will be all the new versions. And they'll be together in one package. And we went and tracked down the original photographer. We found all these photos that have never really been seen before and kind of updated the album art suddenly, very subtly. So it was a really cool piece to put together.
That's we're very, very excited for that. My chat room is blowing up right now. You know what's also kind of cool? And I saw that it's not like I'm dropping any info here because it is in, I think, one of the interviews, but we're also working on, we got some things happening. It's all happening again for you. We got some new jams, some would say. Some new jams.
So before I even started this Spirit Room project, I was finishing a new record. During quarantine, as I mentioned before, we have a home studio. My husband and I just literally had nothing else to do. So to like get time away from our toddler, we were in our studio working, and before I realized that I had a finished record. So that's been mixed and mastered and turned in, and it's coming out next year. It's called The Trouble with Fever, and I'm stoked. So it'll be Spirit Room like in March, and that will come out probably late summer.
Sick. What kind of vibe?
Yeah.
What kind of, is it just going to be Michelle Branch, right? I guess.
It's just me. I don't know. I guess if you listen to my last record, it's probably in a similar vein since I worked on it with my husband, Patrick, again. But yeah, it's the first time probably since the Spirit Room that I did all the writing myself without outside writers because I couldn't see other people because we were in lockdown, which was great actually because it's been a long time since I've just, written things myself. I love collaborating, so it's easy for me to get in a room with other writers. But yeah.
What you just said is pretty interesting because I purposely, when shit hit the fan and literally the whole industry got decimated, and people are like restaurants, and we feel for the restaurants and the bars and everything like that. The service industry absolutely got smashed, but also the live event industry, like half my friends are not, like, they don't work in the industry anymore because they couldn't, they could not sustain that lifestyle, the guitar techs, the production, the lighting, the bus drivers. People can't, like, a lot of my friends, it sucks because I couldn't get to say goodbye to them, and now they're all scattered, and who knows when I'm going to see them again. Like, I have no idea. You know what I mean? Like, it sucks. It's very unfortunate. But I really wanted to bring up like the Gunz Show and even did so much more content because I knew that the fans needed that interaction with the bands. And on the flip side, I had a lot of bands that weren't even promoting anything that just wanted to have some sort of do something with the fans. So they were supposed to tour or whatever it might be. And I asked them this a lot, and I'd love to get your opinion. Was it easier in this last year or so are you the type of person that, like, this time off helped you create because you were finally, like you said, you really had nothing else to do, so you could kind of focus? Or are you the type of person that, to become inspired, you have to be doing something and that you need to be traveling or just whatever?
Yeah, a little bit of both. I mean, in the past, I'm a lazy writer because I really don't go and sit down and try to write every day. I've done it before, but I feel like it's always like quantity and not quality. And so I kind of wait until songs are literally in my head. And I'm like, okay, I got to put this down. And I had some songs that I had started prior to everything shutting down. And I knew I wanted to finish them, but I didn't have the time to. So having everything kind of shut down and being at home forced me to finish them. And by finishing them, it like just kind of made room for all these new ideas that came in. So it was really easy to work. But that being said, like, you know, my son just turned 3. I have a toddler, so I think that's pretty isolating in itself. So I'm like, great, I'm a homebody. And so it was really kind of like, everyone's like, wow, Michelle's really thriving right now. I'm like, yeah, because this is what I love to do. I'm home with my family, you know, nowhere to be. It's great. I didn't have to like cancel on people.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, sorry, I can't make it tonight. Oh, it was such a joy.
Speaking of that, though, you know who's never, you know how many, I've actively said this, I'm never going to make an excuse and be like, oh, I can't go to the bar, I'm doing something, when really I'm just chilling on my couch. I'm never going to cancel anymore after not being able to do anything for a year and a half here in New York City. I will be at every concert. I will not pass up it. No more bullshit excuses. I need to go everywhere now.
Yeah, you definitely appreciate things totally differently now.
And even when live shows come back, and hopefully, you know, eventually you'll be touring as well, I was telling all my band friends this, every single city is going to go wild. Every city. It's not just the A markets. You'll be in the middle of some place you can't even, like, spell, and the crowd's going to go wild because they haven't had live music. And I think, if anything, we're all going to come out of this with a whole new sense of appreciation for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I know as a fan myself, I'm dying to go see shows again. And I actually, speaking of Alanis, she's doing that tour right now with Garbage, and they're coming through Nashville. And I'm like, we have to go. So hopefully I'll make it out to that show.
Awesome. I'm seeing Dan and Shay this week, so I'm excited for that. Yeah, love Dan and Shay. They're with this band called the Band Camino, who are from Memphis, who are also, shout out to the Band Camino as well. Very good band. Check them out if you haven't yet. I want to get a couple questions in real quick. Punto Musica says, how does playing and singing these songs today make you feel? Do you relate to any lyrics differently 20 years later?
That's a good question. I feel like I actually relate to them more than I did when I wrote them, because I mean, you have to remember some of these songs I wrote for the Spirit Room. I was 15 years old, 16 years old. I had not even really left my hometown of Sedona, Arizona. And since then, you know, I've traveled the world. I've been married. I've been divorced. I've had children. I've had a lot more life under my belt. So the songs definitely resonate in a much deeper way.
I was thinking back to, you know, just the whole, that era, the Spirit Room era, and just, you know, I was like 15, 16, 17, like how we all were. And I was laughing to myself because, you know, it was something about you in particular, because it was such an interesting time in music, because you had like you think the 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, that whole era with like MTV and stuff, you had like the boy bands. So it was like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. And then you had like Korn and Limp Bizkit and like Eminem, you know, Slim Shady, Marshall Mathers type stuff. And then of course you had like Britney and Christina. And then it was like, and here's Branch. Like, it was like a breath of fresh air. Like, I'm playing the guitar, I'm singing, and then, of course, like, Avril would come and stuff like that. But it was, and then, of course, like, Mayer, like, the Howie Days, and, like, things like that were all popping up. And it was like, it was such a fun, like, looking back, I don't think music is that way right now. It was a unique time in place.
I don't know if it's just because we were younger or, you know, I look back on like the years like 1995 to like 2005 that's my favorite time period for music, and I miss it. I really do.
Did you, when you came out, like, during that era, and I fully, like, from an outsider standpoint, even though I know you're whatnot, but from an outsider standpoint, there was just something, it's so funny, like, whether it's, like, you come on in the bar or whatnot, or people are just like, oh, I love her. Like, the response I got to having you on the show tonight is wild. Because I'm talking high school people I haven't talked to in forever are just like, oh, we love Michelle Branch. And I think that was always something kind of unique about you, and not like kissing your ass or anything like that, but like you really don't have too many like naysayers or shit talkers. Like there's not like, people don't really have anything bad to say about you, and I give you credit because that's like, you're a genuine human being. That's kind of cool. I mean, that's actually a great thing to have. Was this always kind of like a coherent thing, like just to be kind of real or whatever it might be? Because you really don't have any distractors, really, to be completely honest. Like, you're not a bad person.
Someone recently, when I was doing a Spirit Room interview, said that I was a reluctant pop star, and that they found it very endearing. And I was like, you're kind of right. Like, I loved what I was doing, but I was like, but don't pay too much attention to me. Like, I don't want to be like famous. Like, just kind of listen to my music and let it be about the music. And I think that's just always been my, my focus is making music, and the rest is just icing on the cake.
Was it kind of like, even now, like, are you seeing their reaction? Like tonight, we got the live stream, by the way, 9 p.m. Eastern, Moment House. Check it out. Are you starting to see, were you a little bit nervous? Like tonight before you start, are you going to be excited, stoked, nervous? Are people coming out of the woodwork as well? What are you going to be feeling tonight for it? Or the response so far?
What's funny to me is like friends and family members that have texted saying they bought a ticket. And I'm like, really? You bought a ticket? Like, you know me. Why are you buying a ticket to this acoustic show? Like, so that's really funny to just hear from, writer friends and whatnot that they're tuning in and they want to watch it. And I'm like, really? That's cool. But mostly I think I'm just going to be sifting through my closet trying to find something that fits me at 5 months pregnant. So I'm going to be like, did I pee before I played? Do I have enough snacks? All right, great.
Hit the stage, right? Yeah, why not, right? Yeah. That's awesome. We're speaking here with Michelle Branch. Somebody just shouted out the... Lauren says, do you remember your fans from the MBMB board? Yes, that was...
Hells yeah.
What a time. For those
Good
that
old
don't...
days.
That was a wild time for sure. Michelle Branch message boards were always a blast. And that was kind of a cool thing because I felt like you didn't have... Like, it was a good core group of fans that you had that just supported you. I mean, you won the video, the MTV,
the VMA fan choice.
Yeah,
it was all because of the MBMB.
There we go.
Maybe we should bring it back.
Bring it back, right? Yeah. Why not? Now they're all going wild for that. A couple more questions. Are there any other songs from Brooklyn Bracelet that almost made it onto Spirit Room? Gabil F wants to know.
Yeah. That's a good question. So there's a song that I recorded for my, so I recorded demos before I got signed, and I kind of ended up putting them together to make my own record that I would release at shows prior to being signed. It was called Broken Bracelet. And a lot of the songs on the Spirit Room are on there. But one of the songs that I never had a chance to record when I brought all my demos in to John Shanks when I started Spirit Room is a song called Paper Pieces. And I've always wanted to cut it. So we've cut it for Spirit Room 2.0. So that's on there, as well as the bonus version of Everywhere, like an alternate version.
That's awesome. Well, there you go. That's huge right there. How was that? Were you just like, yes, finally? What do you?
Yes, I was. So it's definitely like more, you can tell that I wrote it in like the late 90s. It definitely has more of like a grungy rock feel to it. So I was stoked to be able to finally put it on the record.
Very, very, very cool. Dragon Storm says that they used to go outside TRL and promote you there. So shout out to Dragon Storm 88.
This is making me so nostalgic. We should all just go meet in Times Square with signs.
God help us. What a time. Were you ever, I know that, you started playing like small shows and whatnot. What made you nervous? The small shows, going on TRL, performing in front of massive audiences. What was like the most nervous? Being able to hear the people? Oh, TV?
Yeah. No, TV. The minute, like a late night show, the minute that the red light goes on and you're recording and you know that you're live and there's nothing you can do if you mess up, that really gives me anxiety. Yeah. That definitely is my least favorite. And you're always in like a cold studio and you're there all day long. And then it comes down to like, 3 minutes and you're like, ooh, what do I do?
It's like, here it is. Don't blow it. Everybody's watching. No pressure, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever, sometimes before I do TV, and we'll wrap up in just a minute or two, before I do like broadcast or whatnot, sometimes, full disclosure, I'll go and be like, motherfucker, you can do this. I'll give myself like a pep talk. Be like, you got this, Gunz. Like, especially if it's something I'm not too familiar with, I'm just like, you got this. Do you ever give yourself a little pep talk?
No, I just pour a very large glass of red wine.
Yeah. Oh.
And then I'm like, all right, I got this. I'm good.
Awesome. Well, listen, you will
Liquid
be getting
courage.
Liquid courage. It is. Listen, you will be doing it. We've got the meet and greet happening in just a couple minutes, and you will be doing it tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern. So good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
So great to
Hopefully
catch up.
I see you, in real life.
In real life, yes. Hopefully sooner than later. Until then, we'll have the reworked versions of the Spirit Room 2.0 album coming out in October, just a couple weeks away. And then, of course, later tonight, all the songs, all the jams. It's going to be awesome. And, music's back. We're going to have shows back. Things are turning around. Knock on wood. We got it. We got it. We got it. And shout out to everybody in the chat, the longtime OG fans from the MBMB days, to also the brand new ones that might have just found out about you. It's all happening once again. Let's go. Anything else that you want to say to the audience out there? Real quick.
No, just, wear your masks. Let's get this over with.
Yes, absolutely. Bridge, you the best. Thanks again. We'll talk soon, all right?
Nice to see you.